America is back. Diplomacy is back.
All right, so America is back and diplomacy is back. My question is, where did diplomacy go? Diplomacy is simply how governments work with one another, relationships, international relationships. At what point did America stop having an international relationship? All right, guys, welcome to Point Out Politicians. My name is Sherman. If you enjoy the content here, make sure you share it with someone else. If you think you got some value out of it, make sure you share it with someone else who you think might get some value out of it. But what I want to point out today is how the language has been changed. It's been changed in such a way that if you're not paying attention and you allow it to gloss over, you won't even realize it's happening in front of your face. He just said that America's back and diplomacy's back. Diplomacy never went anywhere. But there's different types of diplomacy. You've got big stick diplomacy, where you walk softly, carry a big stick. You got a big army, strong army. You've got monetary diplomacy, get things done with money. You got moral diplomacy, where you have the morally righteous position, allows you to get some things done. It's just different types of diplomacy. I just thought it was interesting that he made it seem as if no diplomacy was happening before he became president, as if the previous president, Donald Trump, had destroyed that in some way, shape, or form. And that's why I thought it was important to share this video. Pay attention to what he's about to say. I took a clip from the most recent address to the State Department. Right, he spoke to the State Department, outlined his foreign relations policy, and he took an opportunity to try to take a couple jabs at the previous administration. But what's most important is what he says about returning to a previous style of diplomacy. And the reason that's so important might surprise you. There's a clip I'm going to put in here at the end. It's going to bring it all into perspective for you. But listen to what Joe has to say.
American leadership must meet this new moment of advancing authoritarianism, including the growing ambitions of China to rival the United States and the determination of Russia to damage and disrupt our democracy.
Okay, so what jumps out at you right there? For me, it's the determination of Russia to damage our democracy. Seems to be alluding to maybe some type of Russian campaign interference, Russian interference. But I could have swore we had 4 years of that claim. I mean, ultimately, there was just no proof, no evidence. Right? So that's the first thing that kind of just made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. But it gets deeper than that. What you'll notice is they keep ramming these messages through over and over again. If you lie long enough, it somehow magically becomes the truth. But that caught my attention. He keeps bringing up the Russians. And for the life of me, I'm trying to figure out what have the Russians been doing to us for the last 4 years? What aggressive actions have they been taking towards the United States over the last 4 years? Outside of claims of elections, what else has Russia been doing? Why is it Russia? Why are they so dangerous? But back to diplomacy. Listen to this.
I made it clear to President Putin, in a manner very different from my predecessor, that the days of the United States rolling over in the face of Russia's aggressive actions, interfering with our elections, cyber attacks, poisoning its citizens, are over.
Okay, so Russia interfering with our elections. He clarified that cyber attacks, poison their own citizens. The poison the own citizen thing, that refers to a different situation. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. Alexei Nolov, I think his name was. No evidence there, no proof there. As a matter of fact, and this is just a side note, I'm not saying that this is the case, but just how the evil machinations, the way it works. Right now, they're calling for this guy to get released from prison. He had been poisoned one time in the past, previously. But I wouldn't be surprised if we did it or had something to do with it. I just wouldn't. The way, some of the things that are done by people in this country, the United States are not angels. I wouldn't be surprised if the guy gets released or is freed and then disappears not long after that. It's always misinformation. It's always backwards. What they think, but the side it sounds like people are cheering for, sometimes that's their enemy. Sometimes they just want access to somebody to get rid of them. But anywho, this is the guy that's running against Putin, or was running against Putin. He was saying a lot of bad things about Putin. So back to diplomacy, right? So we want to go back since before Trump, and we want to get rid of Russian interference, right? But let's go back to before Trump, and let's look at this Russian interference in our elections. Check this out.
My last election. Yeah, after my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah, I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir and understand what.
Who's Vladimir? Vladimir who? Vladimir Putin, perhaps, from Russia? You just saw a president of the United States talking about elections and Putin. Sounds like some election interference to me. Please don't do this because I'm trying to work on something over here. So in other words, he used his power as a president of the United States to compel or request another country to not take an action because then he'd have to deal with it before the election. Sounds like Russian interference to me. Election interference. It just isn't all on the Russian side. Anyway, what are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comment section below, guys. Thanks. Peace.